Disaster investors. That's the topic for today's episode. And without further ado, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. For those who are tuning in for the first time, this is your channel for real estate education. Now, today's episode is actually very different from anything that I've done ever before. And the reason why I decided to do this is because I really want to hear your opinion regarding this article that I came across this morning on the Wall Street Journal. So basically, for those who are unfamiliar with the term disaster investor, it's a term that it's used to refer to any investors who seeks to profit from natural disasters. So in this context, in the real estate context, it basically refers to any real estate investor who is a chaser for natural disasters, seeking for properties that are cheap, either on bankruptcy, and that way they can actually come in and buy them at a very low price and then add them to their real estate portfolio. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up today, aside from wanting to hear about your opinion, it's because as an investor myself, this is something that I've actually never thought of. I know that during the financial crisis in 2008, a lot of investors actually expanded their real estate portfolio, buying any properties that actually defaulted and the mortgages and stuff like that. But I never thought of actually investing in properties that were either caught on fire or flooded, like by natural disasters. So this article drew a lot of, that's the term that I'm looking for, controversy, so to speak. And the comments actually differ from the other side of the spectrum. Some people were really pro the practice, some people were really against the practice. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up the article on my screen so you can actually take a quick look at it. So here we are in Google, and what we're going to do, I actually have to look down because I need to get the exact name of the article, A natural disaster wipes out your home. And then I'm just gonna Wall Street Journal. And so you have it here. Let's just pull it up. And here is a copy of the article. And then you go all the way down. And of course, they're going to ask you for a subscription. So I believe the journal allows users, new users, to get access to one free article. But if for whatever reason you don't have a subscription, you can actually either check out their free trial that lasts for, I believe it's 2 weeks, I'm not sure. Or you can simply go to the public library and just ask for the subscription to the Wall Street Journal. So you got the story of a town that was actually hit by floods, right? In this case, they use Panama City in Florida as an example because Panama City was actually hit by a hurricane back in October 2018. And so, it's a disaster. It's sad. Like a lot of these homes are actually flooded. You get mold growing in. And so the story goes about a couple of investors who actually came in town and they decided to purchase these homes at a discount, right? So they will share something like, well, you have this one investor who came into town and he started to contacting the homeowners and actually meeting with them in their homes, even though there's actually mold growing in the surface. But he will actually schedule the meetings with them and sit with them in their homes. And he will build that rapport by looking at the pictures on the wall, asking these homeowners about their family members, and eventually an emotional connection is actually built in. And he goes in and swoop in the offer and has the contract handy. And typically, as you may expect, the prices that are being offered to those homeowners are actually very low. So the argument that these investors are using is the fact that they are actually coming in a town that has been devastated by a natural disaster. They are actually taking a risk to transform the community into something that hopefully in the future will be flourishing in the economy and stuff like that. So they come in, they bring in the funds, they're taking a financial risk in order to make things work. And they are creating jobs for people who have probably lost their jobs because of the floods. And they're transforming the community rather than having a town with an economy that it's actually really difficult to bring back up while they wait for the government's funds to come in, so to speak. So then on the other side of the spectrum, you have the people who actually completely oppose to that practice because they're thinking that the investor is actually manipulating the emotional vulnerability of these homeowners and therefore taking advantage of them. And not just that, by them buying the properties at such a low price is actually an insult to the locals. And in addition to that, they're actually building bigger homes, different homes, and bringing in, quote unquote, a bunch of outsiders who are transforming the neighborhood and actually getting rid of the character of the town itself. So that's in a nutshell what they talk about. The article also goes about sharing lots and lots of stats, numbers of different sell prices, and how these investors managed to build a power team in these communities. So they were able to actually transform the town from a major disaster into something that was completely renovated and flourishing and a healthy economy. And so what's interesting is I don't know what to think of it, because from one side, I actually understand the investors, but then on the other side, you sort of like can't help but feel bad for the people who lost their homes and stuff like that. And so I actually went in and, as you can see here, check on some of the responses that they were here. This morning when I read this, there was only 33 responses. So again, like I said, this article is actually drawing a lot of controversy, a lot of attention. So let me see if we can actually take a look at some of this. So right from the get-go, you got a total of 63 responses, but then I think the journal likes to feature a couple of them. I'm not sure how they actually decide to feature which ones versus another. Maybe it's one that drives the most controversy or one that has the most responses. I'm not sure. But for example, you can see this comment right here of someone who's criticizing it, not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They are taking advantage of the victims' bewilderment during times of desperation. So someone who comes in and decides to reply to that comment, this is a high-risk reward endeavor. Local planning boards and permitting agencies can put the kibosh on any planned redevelopment. It took my brother 5 years to rebuild his home on Long Island after Hurricane Sandy. Now, someone else comes in and decides to defend the investors, right? And this person wrote, well, the article is well written. I grew up in Panama City, actually one of the cities that were affected by a hurricane last year, and I live here currently. And like the comment from George Simpson in New Orleans, I am thankful for all the investors pouring money into our city right now in an effort to rebuild all of the damaged properties and make them available for their new buyers. And I wish there were more investors doing the same. The Tampa Bay Times reported in June that about 70% of the housing in Panama City had either been damaged or destroyed by Hurricane Michael. We're dealing with a workforce shortage, housing shortage, obviously, a mental health crisis, budget overages in our county, and school board, unsafe roadways, looting, pretty much every major issue a single city can have, and all at once. Getting investors in here, stimulating our economy, bringing in new buyers, all of this is good. And in the long run, will help us build our city back to what it was before and stronger than ever. So that's one of the comments that actually drew a lot of my attention. But there was another one that I actually would like to pull up here. Let me see if I can find it. So for example, this is another commentary from another subscriber in the journal. Taking advantage? Are you kidding me? Your house is trash. It's not worth dime one. We're the one who bought in a zone known for natural disasters in the first place. Be thankful someone is even giving you anything. And don't be the person that buys from these folks in 2 years. And then back to that original comment, I find this response a little bit sarcastic and in a way sort of like entertaining. So back to the whole not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're taking advantage of the victim's bewilderment during times of desperation. Then this person comes in and writes, so you provide services out of the goodness of your heart? I charge for my services. Do you have any painting skills? And, you know, you can see the commentary going on and on and on. It's really, really interesting to see kind of like the dynamic, how no one seems to be sitting in between. Like you're either on one side of the spectrum and then you find people on the other side of the spectrum. So I actually wanted to open up the floor and get your comments on it and get your opinion about what do you think about this type of investment. Would you be the person who comes in and steps up the game and decide to go into a community that has been impacted by a natural disaster and say, you know what, I am a real estate investor and I am willing to transform this community? Or do you think you'd be on the other side of the spectrum? Will you feel guilty, or would you feel like you're actually tricking those homeowners to emotionally manipulating them into selling at such a low price? So that's basically all I have for today. I really can't wait to hear your comments. I'm actually really passionate about real estate, and this is one of the subjects. I could have waited until Friday to publish this, but I decided to do it today because I really, really, really want to hear what you guys have to say today. And as you can see, I just actually came back home. First thing I did is just to turn out that computer. I didn't even have time to set up all the camera. I'm actually sitting on my desk with my closet behind. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. So I will see you soon, and I can't wait to hear back from your comments. And as usual, if you found this video very helpful or informative, feel free to share the love and share the link to the video to some of your friends or family members who you think might find this article helpful. And as usual, do not forget to hit the like or subscribe button. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye.